Welcome everybody to a new My Hero Academia video, and guys, welcome to Stain's Ultimate Guide. I've been promising it for a while, and here it is. Here you guys go. It took a long time to make this, so I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys find this useful and that it helps you out with when it comes to Stain. Stain is actually not that complicated. He might look like that at first glance, but he's actually one of the more he's more on the simple side of things, right? Like he's kind of like on the other side of the spectrum when compared to Aizawa. So yeah, but he does have a few quirky things that I'm not sure if they're bugs or not, so we'll just have to go through them really quick. But yeah, without further ado, let's just jump into the guide. Let me show you guys. So if you enjoyed this guide, if you find anything useful, guys, if you learn anything, please feel free to leave a like. Also, if you guys think have any suggestions, if you guys think that I should change anything or add anything, please, of course, feel free to leave a comment. I'm always open to suggestions. I'm always changing my guides. On that note, guys, please remember that these guides are always subject to change, because you know, sometimes we just discovered a new interaction, or we discovered that something that we thought worked a certain way doesn't actually work that way. So yeah, please keep in mind that even though I'm showing you the guide like this right now in the video, you should definitely check out the guide with the link in the description, and in case anything changes, right? Especially when it comes to talents and the talent guide, that one is the trickiest one, because that one is always changing. So please do keep that in mind, guys. So yeah, I think we can start with the abilities. So let's just jump into it. Okay, so let's just get started with his Q. And so for his Q, it's actually pretty simple. He just does this. He goes Super Saiyan, right? And he has 3 stacks, exactly like Todoroki's W. Same thing. Except that if you look at his cooldown, it goes down with every auto attack that I land. So that's pretty neat, considering that he actually, like, Stain is all about auto attacks. Like everything about on Stain is about auto attacks. So you can see that his Q actually goes down every time that I hit the enemy. His Q cooldown goes down every time I hit an enemy. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. You know, his Q, we're gonna talk about this a little bit later, but his Q is not very useful when it comes to PvE. Honestly, when it comes to PvE, it might be a little bit useful when it comes to like mobs of enemies, right? And like if you go in the middle and you do this, right? Because usually mobs don't have hyper armor, so you'll just throw them in the air. It's good if you can somehow group them up, right? Maybe you can put your assist, yeah, right? Your hero assist can be maybe Tokoyami if you have him. So what I mean is you can see how Bakugo shows up right there every time I use his Q, or sometimes when I use his Q, right? Well, if you put Tokoyami there, he can use his E, right, to group enemies maybe, and put them in front of you, and maybe you can maybe you can group those mobs and use your Q that way. Not a very effective way to use this, or to use your assist, to be honest, because the thing is that for the hero, when it drops, it takes a second for them to use their ability, right? So your Q is gonna go off before, but like Tokoyami could show up and group them, and then you can use your second Q, right? And I don't know, it's just an idea, right? It's just an idea. So also, as you can see, if you pay attention at the numbers popping up, it's actually a big combo whenever you use your Q. Let me just bring the cooldown down. So when you use your Q, it kind of like pops up a bunch of numbers. Let me show you. See, 1, 2, 3, a bunch, right? It's supposed to be 8. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be 8. So it's basically just one ability, but it hits a few times, so it gives me a combo. Let me see if I can show you guys. See right there, 6 hits. Okay, so it's 6. I need to correct that in the guide. It's 6, not 8. But yeah, basically, the reason why that is important is because if you follow, the advice that I gave you guys on the talent tree for Stain, you will know that he gains 40% attack when he is doing combos, right? So Q is a great way to start because it will give you a 6 combo right off the bat, right? And that will actually give you the 40% immediately. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, okay? So that's it for his Q. Now let's go to his W. All right, and now we have his W. So his W, basically, Stain will throw a few daggers in front of him, as you can see right there, right? And then if one of his daggers actually lands, it will actually root the enemy for 3 seconds. So that's pretty neat, but it's very useful actually for a lot of Stain's ability, in particular his continuous call that we will see later. But yeah, it's a pretty handy ability. And also, guys, you can see right here, let me show you an auto attack combo, right? This is Stain's normal auto attack combo. This is just what he does. You can see he has a fist right there, right? His button is a fist, just like with every other hero. But look what happens when I press his W. So when I press his W, his auto attack changes, right? You can see I'm just dashing around, right? It changes, and basically what it does, it's instead of a fist, right, which means his katana, and so instead of his katana, Stain starts attacking with his 2 daggers. You can see right there, let me show you. See, he's using his 2 daggers to attack, and so he does this, right? He rushes back and forth, hitting the enemy. Usually it's you either get 4 hits before you go back to your katana, or 10 seconds, right? If you use the talent tree, if you level the talents that I recommended, right, in the video that I made for Stain's talents, then you will actually not have the 4 hits limitation, and instead you will have your daggers up for 6 seconds instead of 10. So you can hit your enemy. Let me show you. I'm sorry. You can hit your enemy as many times as you want within 6 seconds after you used the ability, right? So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's his W. All right, now for his E, right? So his E is actually pretty awesome. If the enemy doesn't have hyper armor, right? So this is what happens when the enemy doesn't have hyper armor. So that's the first half of his E. Now you can see that his auto attack fist right there, right? The symbol changed to his katana and a knife. So basically when he's in this state right after his E for 10 seconds, he will do that like giant flurry thing that is crazy. Like, look at that, guys. Look at that. Look at how many times I'm hitting. I'm making Ida blush right now, dude. Like, look at that. He just crits and hits so many times. And so far as I've played with him, I haven't seen anyone actually interrupt his E, at least when he's in that flurry state, right? So okay, now I entered into spoiler for later on the guide, but yeah, that's basically his E, right? He will just charge against his enemy and then throw them in the air, and then in the air he will do a combo, then he will slam them back down, and his auto attack symbol will change to his katana and a dagger, and he will do that massive flurry thing that is pretty awesome looking, honestly. Not gonna lie. So yeah, the problem with that E, and again we'll talk about this later, is that when you're against a hyper armor boss, it's kind of like the same as Midoriya when he does his Q, in the sense that you just obviously an enemy with hyper armor won't be lifted into the air, but you will. So you will just be in the air for a few seconds, just wasting time doing no damage, because you're just hanging there in the air because the boss just stayed down because he has hyper armor and you can't lift him up. So that's the only issue with this E. So one thing that you can do, and again we'll talk about this later, but one thing that you can do is you can cancel his E before he jumps. Basically you do this, right? That's pretty much it. You just cancel. Let me see if I can do it again. So when he rushes against the enemy, right, you just dodge before he jumps, and so that way you just cancel the E, right? But you still get his the ability to do this flurry, right? Even though you cancel the jump into the air, you still get this ability. You can see he's wielding there his dagger and his katana. Looks pretty awesome. But yeah, you can just cancel it, and you will still get. Let me show you now that I don't have it anymore. Let me see one more time. Yeah, so I dodge, see, and I still have the flurry anyway. So that's what you should be doing when you're fighting bosses with hyper armor, right? So that you can take advantage of this, which is huge amounts of DPS, right? And while at the same time not wasting time because you're jumping into the air. You do miss out on some damage sometimes, because I think it's because of one of his exclusive cards. If you have one of his exclusive cards, there's a weird thing there, basically, that you're missing out on damage. I'm not sure how it works, but most people won't actually have his exclusive cards, so don't worry too much about it. But yeah, that's easy. All right, and finally for his ult. His ult is actually pretty unique. I actually really like it. It's unique in the game. No other character, as far as I know, as far as I remember, no other character has an ult like this one, because it's not just a flashy animation dealing a lot of damage. It actually has some use, right? So let me show you what it does. Basically, Stain just double wields his katana. You can see right there, right? He just double wields it, and you can see the auto, the auto attack button changes again. And he basically gains a ranged attack, just like that. It seems to have infinite range, so that's pretty cool. It's not particularly useful, right? All of your other attacks are a lot faster and a lot more agile. This one roots you in the ground. But, there's a couple of uses for it, right? So basically, like, for example, if you have a boss that's about to get their armor broken, right, that yellow bar right below their health bar, and you're about to break them, what you can do is you can just stand far away from them, and just you activate your ult, right, and you just shoot them down to break them, and then you can close the gap and actually eat them, right? So that's a pretty cool, neat interaction. Or use more like use other than interaction for your ult. I really like that idea. And also the same thing applies if the boss has little health left, right? Same thing. If you just want to finish them off fast, or maybe you just ended up far away from them after using your W enhanced autos, or maybe your quirk just left you far away from the boss, it's no problem because you just charge your ult, right? And you just shoot them down and kill them right from far away. You don't need to get close, you don't need to waste time running, or maybe the boss will just do some attack and stun you, and then you just waste time, right? So it's pretty cool. It's a good finisher, right? It's very obviously extremely situational, right? But I still like it very much. And also your ult actually charges very fast. Let me show you. You can actually just charge it with one flurry of your E. You can see how fast it's charging up. It's amazing. Look at that. It's charging so fast. So if you can land a full E, you will have your ult ready. You can see I even have some attacks left over. Like, yeah, so it's very easy to charge. So yeah. All right, and now we're gonna do his quirk and his auto attack. We're actually gonna do them both at once. So basically his quirk, when you activate it, it changes your dodge. You can see right there how his dodge just changed. And if I press it, basically it actually directs me towards the enemy, and it hits it. It hits the enemy. You can see right there. And you can also see how, let me just put it again. You can see how the vigor, the bar at the bottom, you can see how it charges every time that I land this, right? If I don't land it, it doesn't charge it. But yeah, if you can land it 3 times, right? Whenever you activate your quirk, you can land that dodge up to 3 times, and it will charge your bar 30% each time. So that is huge, because otherwise it's actually very difficult to actually charge your bar. It takes a very long time without your quirk. So yeah, that's for his quirk. And then then we're just gonna charge it. Let me just charge the bar all the way to show you what happens when I do. So yeah, he goes into that queue, and then you can see that I'm not actually pressing anything. I'm just guiding him. I'm not actually telling him to run forward. He just runs forward, and then at the end he does that. It's an unavoidable attack for the opponent, and he just like like cuts their face basically. It's pretty much all there is. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So you activate your your passive. We're gonna go through the combos later, but basically you just charge your bar, and with E you can finish it, because your E is just fantastic. I love Stain's E. And yeah, so he goes Super Saiyan Z, and then he starts running and slashing, right? Slashing and dashing. It's a little hard to control, and I imagine it's especially hard with bosses that run around a lot, right? But it does deal a ton of damage. Thank you, Dokkan, for making a for showing up for the show. Thank you. All right, guys, and now we are on his core gameplay. This is all stuff that I already mentioned before, so we're gonna go through it very quick. The reason why I mentioned it during the abilities breakdown is so that I don't repeat myself so much. We don't go over the same things over and over again. So let's just go over the core gameplay super quick. So it's just 3 basic stuffs, right? So the first thing is that your biggest source of damage will come from your enhanced W and your enhanced E, right? Particularly the autos, right? The enhanced autos from your enhanced W and your E, right? So what I mean by that is the dash with your 2 daggers that comes from your W, and also the the attack, the flurry with the katana and the dagger when you use your E. So that's where your biggest damage is going to come from. You saw in when we broke down his abilities how many times Stain is attacking and critting. So yeah, that is huge DPS, right? Then we have that dodging while your quirk is active will dash you around the target and attack them, right? Attack the enemy. If the attack lands you get about 30% of your vigor filled, and you can do this dash attack 3 times per quirk, and combos with a full you can combo it with a full E to instantly fill your vigor. Right, this is what I showed you just now 2 seconds ago, guys. So yeah, it's more of the same, right? I'm just breaking it down here for the people that are not going to watch the video, but just go straight to the guide, right? And then we have that you want to build your vigor as fast as possible with your enhanced autos from W and E while your quirk is in cooldown, right? Because obviously the biggest way to fill your vigor is going to come from your quirk, but if your quirk is in cooldown, you can use your enhanced autos from your W and your E. Basically pretty much what I just told you. Again, same thing. It's just for people that are just going to go through the guide and won't watch the video, right? All right, guys, and now let's go through his combos. So basically, you want to open with your Q, because your Q will consume part of your vigor if you have any. So you want to open with your Q so that you don't consume it because you want it, right? So you open with your Q, and then let me wait until he lands, otherwise I'm not gonna actually land my E. So then he lands, and then you use your E, right? So if the enemy has hyper armor, you should cancel your E the way that I showed you can do. But if they don't, then you just go through your entire E. Then you independently of whether or not they have hyper armor, you go through the entire flurry until it's done. Then you use your W to root them. Then you use your quirk, dodge, attack, dodge, attack, and then you are into your continuous call, right? Your auto attack. This special form of your auto attack, and then it finishes. Now your bar is empty, and guess what? You do Q again because your bar is empty. You do E, and you just go through the motions all over again. That's basically the main combo. And then I just added that, like I explained to you guys before when I was breaking down his ult. Basically, you can use the ult situationally, right? If you just find like right now, right? I'm far away, so I just want to finish the boss off, so I just go with the ult and I finish him off from a fair distance, right? So that I'm safe. And that's it. That's basically his optimal combo. Like I said, he's very straightforward. Alright, guys, now let's go through his support cards, and I think we're gonna do his chips right away too, because they're very simple. So for his support cards, right, this is where Stain gets a little tricky, right? So basically we recommend that you use Cold Shot, right, because it's gonna give you crits. And then Shigi, because Shigi will proc with abilities, and that's the thing with Stain. You know, a lot of people will probably ask me if they could use Nomu, and Nomu is actually not a good idea for now, because for some reason we discovered that Stain doesn't actually proc Nomu or Ectoplasm when he uses the enhanced auto attacks from his abilities, right? Basically his ult, his W, and his E, and also his continuous call, the one that the one that you get when you fill your vigor. So those abilities, apparently they don't count as autos. They should, obviously, because they changed the icon of your auto attack button, but they don't change it. So we don't know if it's a bug or not. We'll just have to wait and see if if it's a bug, the devs will fix it eventually, and then we will obviously update the guide. But as of today, those it's not recommended, or we don't recommend that you actually put Nomu or Ectoplasm in your Stain, because he will not trigger them, okay? If it's a bug and they fix it, then we will update the guide, of course, and we will definitely recommend that you use Nomu and you use Ectoplasm, right? Because though it would be amazing on Stain, it would definitely be amazing on Stain. But for now, you should use Cold Shot on Shigi or Shigi. And for his exclusive cards, again, it's very, very finicky. The card that actually just gives you damage, that's fine, that's perfectly fine. But the card that, the other one actually gives you an attack enhancement whenever you switch your blades. Basically, whenever your auto attack button changes. But there's some conditions there. Basically, for your E, for example, you need to actually land your entire E. You can't cancel it with dodge because you miss out. You don't get the actual buff if you cancel your E and you don't jump into the air. So there's a lot of finicky stuff going on there. So that card is not particularly good. If you get two of it, it might perhaps be recommendable that you fuse it, you advance fuse it into the other one, the one that just straight up gives you damage. So keep that in mind, especially if you're a whale. It's not very, very good, right? Because like I said, Stain is more of a PvP character, right? Because he struggles against hyper armor on bosses on PvE. So and in PvP and in arena, right, you're not actually going to be using your cards because they don't count. So yeah, so it's very, very finicky. But then for the budget cards, we do recommend Ragdoll because crit, May because it's like particularly that, right? Like we do recommend May because May enhances your skill damage, right? And so if his enhanced autos actually count as skills, then May is going to do a lot for you. Then we also recommend Mustard and Present Mic. That's pretty much the cards and that we recommend. Obviously there are a few more, but for reasons of space I can't fit them into the guide. You can always go to the Discord, right, and go to the help channel, and we will be more than happy to help you out. Then for his chips, crit, I wrote down that crit rules supreme when it comes to Stain's chips, because Stain attacks a billion times. Stains is all about combos. It's very similar to Ida, right? Ida is the same. Crit rules supreme because you want to crit when you are like DPSing, right? When you're in the middle of your flurry, when you're doing your E flurry, right? When you're doing even when you're doing your ult, or when you're jumping into the air with your E, or when you're dashing around with your W, when you're running around with your continuous call, it doesn't matter. You always want to crit because Stain hits many times. So prioritize crit chance and crit damage over all other stats when it comes to chips. So then for his chipset effect, it's crazy. It's amazing. So his 6-star chipset actually gives you, I think it's 30%, yeah, 30% attack of true damage. 30% of your attack becomes true damage whenever you do any kind of damage. So that's crazy. That shoots Stain's damage through the roof. That is crazy. That is amazing. You definitely should be farming his 6-star chipset for sure. I forgot, so you can see there that I'm missing 2 because I completely forgot. I was just farming food and I forgot to farm chips, but just keep that in mind, okay? And so yeah, let's just now move to miscellaneous and then we'll be done. And finally, guys, for the miscellaneous advice, this is going to be very quick because, again, same thing as with the core gameplay. I already mentioned all of this. I'm just writing it down for the people that will not see the video but will instead go check the guide, right? So basically we have that you use your Q to reduce your vigor in case that you don't want to use continuous call, right? So you can use your Q to reduce your vigor if you don't want to use your continuous call due to boss mechanics, right? So what we mean by that is basically like, you know how forearms runs around the arena all the time, so it's very hard to catch him, or a Hanzo becomes invisible with like 90% of his moves, he's really annoying, or Tesla teleports around, so stuff like that, right? Like with some bosses you just don't want to use continuous call, because with continuous call you just run and you can't stop. You can't stop Stain. Stain just goes forward. Nothing stops him, he just goes forward. So then you have that you can use your Q as filler while your enhanced autos from W and E are on cooldown, but keep in mind that it will drain your vigor. I believe that the best, most optimal way to use your Q is the way that I told you before, right? This is for PvE, by the way, right? This advice is for PvE only, because when it comes to PvP, your Q is actually very, very useful, because your Q works exactly the same way as Endeavor's E on Lance form works. Basically, if the enemy comes close to you in PvP, right, if they come close to you because they want to hit you or something, you can use your Q, and your Q will stagger them, right, and then it will throw them into the air. It works like Endeavor's E on Lance form, and it also works like Tokoyami's E on his when he's on his regular form, right, when he's not liberated. It works exactly the same way. So your Q is actually very useful for PvP, but not so much for PvE, right? So I think in PvE the most optimal way to use your Q is with the optimal combo that I showed you before. So then we have that Stainage is much, well, just what I was saying right now, right? Stainage is much better in PvP because his Q and the first part of his E aren't particularly useful in PvE, because most bosses have hyper armor and are unaffected, right? So what I just said, you can't stagger an enemy with hyper armor, you can't throw them in the air, so like much more useful to just cancel your E and to just use your Q when your vigor is empty. So yeah, moving forward, we have that you can dodge before hitting your E. I already showed you how to do this when we broke down his E. You can dodge before hitting your E so that you can use your dagger katana stance, right? And it's especially useful in PvE against hyper armor bosses, and the reason why is because of what I just mentioned before, right? Because bosses usually have hyper armor, and so you can throw them into the air with your E. So better to just cancel it and get the flurry, right? So if you guys have any other miscellaneous advice, you can write me right in Discord. I'm more than welcome, right? I will add anything that you guys have to to tell me to add to the guide. I always do, and I always give you a shout out, your credit, the credit that is due at the bottom of the guide. So that's going to be it for this guide. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. I made this guy with Dan with the YUYJ. You guys already know him. He's been on other guides too. And so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did. Leave a comment. What do you think? Do you have anything to add? Do you think I should change something, remove something? Please let me know. Guys, these guides actually take a long time to make. So if you feel like you have a spare dollar, you can always donate for the channel, right? And for myself, obviously, so that I can continue making these guides for you. You already know that I put this for free for everybody. Anybody can access them and use them as however they want. To their own benefit. And yeah, that's gonna be it. Subscribe, guys, if you'd like more ultimate guides, and I'll see you on the next one.